Hey there, Tater fans. I figured I'd do a bit of a longer video today as an FAQ regarding extending multi-day water fast to answer some of the questions that maybe I had when I was starting out fasting or that maybe some of you are curious about. So I am an open book, so fair warning that some of the parts of this video may contain TMI. All right, before we begin, a disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional or a nutritional expert, and this is all solely my own opinion. I share the information freely and for the benefit of others, but if you choose to apply the information, you're doing so at your own risk, okay? So how do I define water fasting? Basically just abstaining from all food for whatever period you've chosen to fast. This could be several days, up to 40 days, and in rare cases, more than 40 days. The longest fast I'm aware of is the world record, which is 382 days by a man named Angus Barbieri, done in 1965, where he lost 276 pounds with medical supervision. And that's actually one of the things that inspired me to start using fasting for weight loss. Personally, I allow the consumption of plain and sparkling water, black coffee, tea, multivitamins, and other non-nutritive supplements. And purists don't really allow the inclusion of any calories. However, I do allow a small amount of calories which come from electrolyte formulas that help me keep with adhering to the fast and with maintaining my health and electrolyte balance. I do my best to choose the ones that have the fewest possible calories, like 5 or 10 per packet, and these minimal calories have not had any impact on the effectiveness of the fasting for weight loss, at least. Is extended fasting safe? Well, it can be safe for people who are healthy and if they're doing things the right way. But it's important that you probably do consult with a healthcare professional before starting, especially if you got some sort of a medical condition or take medications. There are a few circumstances under which fasting becomes particularly dangerous. First would be starting a fast at or below 10% body fat or continuing a fast beyond that point. Below that level of body fat, it seems like your body starts consuming organs and etc. at a rate which is unsustainable. Secondly, just not hydrating or replacing electrolytes. Obviously, hydration is essential and our bodies can't function without electrolytes. Third is refeeding, especially if you have an electrolyte imbalance or haven't maintained them. When you refeed, the body pulls some of those electrolytes out of the bloodstream to help with processing food, and that can create a critical point where, has been fatal for some people. So fasts beyond 40 days are really considered a much higher risk of negative health consequences, so take extra care there. So what are the benefits of extended fasting? Well, it could offer many things, such as improved metabolic health, weight loss, autophagy, which is like cellular cleaning increased, enhanced mental clarity, and some potential longevity benefits. How should you prepare for a fast? I would recommend weaning off of carbs, so focus on whole nutrient-dense foods with low carbs and keep up the hydration and electrolytes running in, and you may avoid the quote-unquote keto flu by doing that. How can you expect to feel? In the first 3 to 5 days, you should expect hunger and irritability, I think in most cases. Also, some people may experience fatigue, headaches, and dizziness, and that's especially if you aren't hydrating or replacing electrolytes. And many of those symptoms actually do subside as your body starts to adapt to fasting and you get the hydration electrolytes corrected. How about breaking a fast safely? To break an extended fast, it's usually suggested that you have small, easily digestible foods like bone broth, fruits or fruit smoothies, or lightly cooked vegetables, and you gradually reintroduce more complex foods over the next few days after that to avoid overwhelming your digestive system. You can watch videos on YouTube or research True North online for their methods or practices, as well as Reddit's r/fasting thread for recommendations from people. Can you exercise while fasting? Yeah, usually light to moderate exercise is okay and oftentimes recommended. Walking, yoga, light resistance training, listen to your body. Avoid intense workouts, especially if you start to feel dizzy, but I do actually think working out is important to avoid muscle loss, which is the next topic. Will I lose muscle during extended fasts? Yes. However, how much you lose really can vary. It can be minimal if you do engage in the resistance exercise and get plenty of movement, like walking. Your body mostly uses fat for energy once it adapts to that and gets into deep ketosis. So, what are the risks of extended fasting? Well, electrolyte imbalance, dehydration, nutrient deficiencies, worsening of pre-existing health conditions potentially. So, consulting with a professional can try to mitigate some of those risks. Although, to be honest, healthcare professionals may, in some cases, refuse to work with you during an extended fast because of the negative stigma that is inherently carried with fasting, because it's oftentimes considered eating disorder, essentially. So you may struggle in that regard. So who should not attempt extended fasting? Well, pregnant or breastfeeding women, people with eating disorders, certain medical conditions. So again, consult with a health professional before you make the decision to fast. How often can you fast? Well, it really just kind of depends on you and what your reason for fasting is. Some people do extended fasting 1 or 2 times a year. Others might do shorter fasts that are more frequent. If you're fasting for weight loss, this also depends on how much excess fat you're carrying, because eventually, if that's the only purpose, you'll only need to do it as you collect a few extra pounds. How about managing hunger during an extended fast? That's a big one. You kind of think that it would just start off and you'd be hungry and you just get hungrier and hungrier and hungrier over time. But that's really not the case. After about the first 5 days or so, for most people, that goes away because the hunger called ghrelin, which drives hunger, significantly decreases after the first 3 to 5 days into a fast. And so, you do still have light hunger from time to time, and you can really do a few things to manage that, drinking water, drinking, tea or coffee. Keeping yourself busy helps too. Like if you're, say, for example, into playing video games, you can play video games to keep from being bored, and other things like deep breathing or meditation to distract yourself. I will say, though, that keeping yourself entertained is probably one of the most helpful tips that I can give. The last time that I did a very long fast, I noticed that I kind of had you have a lot of time to deal with your thoughts and emotions because you're not spending that time preparing food or thinking about food, and you're frankly dealing with how your body wants to use food in times of boredom and other things like that. So it is a challenge and kind of an interesting one if you've never done fasting before. What should you do if you don't feel good during a fast? If you're not feeling well, dizzy, severe symptoms, stop immediately, get medical help. Your health and safety is a top priority. I do fast, and I think that they're a great thing, but you certainly got to be cautious. Okay, so what about these electrolytes? So I follow the recommendations from r/fasting, the Reddit site there, and you can go to their site and actually look at all the details and recommendations, but just to summarize it, it'd be 3 to 6 grams of sodium, 3 to 4.7 grams of potassium, and 3 to 400 milligrams of magnesium on a daily basis. And that in that website, you'll see that it talks about the different forms that you can try, which ones may cause digestive issues and which ones may be better. And but frankly, I just take several packets of that Element electrolyte supplement, which you probably hear advertised on a lot of different YouTube channels. Not sponsored, no link, just like the way they taste, and it helps me with adhering. What about community? Maybe you want to talk to some people or see how other people are doing. The best community that I've found is the around extended and intermittent fasting anyway, is the reddit.com r/fasting site. A lot of people there are sharing photos and their experiences, and I've also found a lot of videos here on YouTube which detail fast from like 3 to 7 days up to 30 to 90 days, so you can see how others handle going through that process. And now what you've all been waiting for, do you use the restroom when fasting? So just to clarify, this is the point where you're going to want to tune out if the TMI is a problem for you. This is the last question of the FAQ. So I do still urinate frequently throughout the day. This is probably obvious due to the amount of water and electrolytes that I'm consuming. I do also still poo. However, after the first few days, anything solid has pretty much moved out of your body, and all that you'd be moving out at this point is kind of a dark brown liquid. At least that's what I have experienced. In previous fasts, I would go many days, sometimes up to a week between these kind of movements. In my current fast, I'm about 5 days in and I'm seeing this still about 2 to 3 times a day. This can sometimes come with a small amount of gas, and it's easy to get caught off guard. So you'll thank me later if you're doing a fast for reminding you to follow the fasting motto, which is never trust a fart. Anyway, that's all. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.